My sister broke all my son's birthday gifts while everyone laughed. Then my father took off his wedding ring and said 4 words that changed our family forever. The first crash happened at 2:15 p.m. on a Sunday. My sister Rachel grabbed the wrapped Nintendo Switch from my 7-year-old son Anthony's hands and slammed it against our kitchen floor. The box split open. Plastic shattered across the tile. Anthony just stood there, frozen. His little hand still shaped like he was holding something. Before I could move, Rachel grabbed another gift, a drone, the one Anthony had circled in the Target catalog for 6 months. She threw it at the wall like a football. My mother started laughing. Not nervous laughter, real laughter. She was wiping tears from her eyes. My Aunt Linda joined in, clapping her hands together. "Oh, Rachel," my mother said between giggles. "You're too much, always keeping things interesting." I looked around our living room at 15 family members. Half of them were smiling. The other half stared at their phones like nothing was happening. Anthony started crying. That quiet kind of crying where no sound comes out because your brain can't understand what's happening. "He's so dramatic," Rachel said, reaching for another present. "Just like his father. Can't take a joke." That's when my father stood up. Dad was 68 years old, quiet man. Worked 42 years at the same factory. Never raised his voice at a family gathering in my entire life. He'd been sitting in the corner, watching everything with this expression I'd never seen before. He walked to the center of the room. "Margaret." His voice was calm, almost soft. He was looking at my mother. She stopped laughing. "What, Raymond?" He reached down to his left hand, to the gold wedding band he'd worn for 44 years. I watched him twist it once, twice, and he pulled it off and dropped it on the coffee table. The room went silent. "I'm done protecting you." 4 words. That was it. My mother's wine glass slipped from her hand. Red liquid spread across our white carpet like a stain that would never come out. "Raymond, what are you—" "I found the journals, Margaret." My mother went pale, actually pale, like blood draining from her face. "What journals?" I asked. Dad pulled out his phone. "Your mother has documented every cruel thing Rachel has done since she was 15 years old. 23 years of entries. Every lie, every person she manipulated, every time she sabotaged you." He looked at me. "Including the time she called your first job and told them you had a criminal record. You always wondered why they fired you after 2 weeks." I felt my stomach drop. "She wrote it all down," Dad continued. "Dates, names, details. And at the bottom of every entry, the same note. Talk to Rachel. She promised to do better." Rachel's face had gone white. "That's private." I've already sent copies to my lawyer." Dad's voice never changed. Still calm, still quiet. "Gerald Mitchell, family law specialist. Divorce papers filed tomorrow morning. I've also sent copies to your employer, Rachel. I thought Westbrook Elementary should know that their assistant principal has a documented history of destroying children's belongings for entertainment." Rachel made a sound like she'd been punched. "And the restraining order for Anthony," Dad said, looking at me now. "Judge Peterson reviewed the evidence yesterday. Temporary order granted. Rachel can't come within 500 feet of my grandson until the hearing." My mother started sobbing. "Raymond, please. 44 years. We can fix this." "You've had 44 years to fix it, Margaret. You chose her every single time." He walked over to Anthony, who was still standing there with tears running down his face. Dad knelt down to his level. "Hey, buddy, wanna go get ice cream? Grandpa got you new presents. Real ones. Ones nobody's gonna break." Anthony nodded and grabbed his hand. Dad stood up and looked at my mother one last time. "Some people spend their whole lives protecting the wrong person. I'm done being one of them." Then he walked out with my son. The divorce finalized 4 months later. Dad got the house. Mom got an apartment, and the consequences of her choices. Rachel lost her job 3 weeks after the birthday party. Turns out school boards don't like administrators with documented patterns of cruelty toward children. Last month, Anthony turned 8. We had a small party at Dad's house, just people who actually loved him. When he blew out his candles, he looked up at me and said, "Daddy, I'm glad Aunt Rachel isn't here." I thought about my mother's journals. 23 years of watching her daughter hurt people and choosing to protect her anyway. 23 years of writing it all down instead of stopping it. Some people document abuse, some people end it. Dad ended it with 4 words and a wedding ring on a coffee table. That's real love.